surf club?
About 50 years.
50.
Yeah, 78 I joined.
So what would you say? Say there is a club out there who aren't doing anything with their cans. What would you say to them?
Well, okay, they go out in the surf. They encourage their kids to get in the surf. Well, what you don't want is pollution, bottles and cans or plastics in the surf. So one of the things they can probably be saying to them is, okay, if you've got that problem, start educating your kids or your members to say, right, do a litter run, start collecting it. And if you don't want to give it to Envirobank, at least collect it and put it in a recycle bin and let the council manage it. But it takes nothing, virtually no time to clean up your area. And that's the main thing. For the plastics, the bottles and the cans, that's what I was saying to them. And it's a bit of pocket money for the club.
So I was looking at some of your records and I saw back in December 2020, about 200 containers were collected. And just last month, you're now collecting about 2,000 every 4 weeks. What's changed? How has the club promoted it, gotten people involved?
Now we're getting a lot of requests for functions and bookings and that. I've got to educate some of the people who use it, put the containers in this bucket, not in that bucket. But
yeah.
So that's where that's turned around there, Bronte. So we opted to get people to fill the bags and we'd store them inside our gear shed. So we don't really, because we figure once it's outside, the public might just think they're doing the right thing, but they're going to leave their boxes and that. Because you want to look at the public places where they put their bottles and cans in the shopping centres, the litter that's left behind there, they think they're doing the right thing, they're leaving all the litter behind. But anyway, it's been an evolving process, but I think we're working pretty well with it now.
Do your members bring their containers in from home?
Text the members to say when the next collection day is, and then usually sometimes that morning we'll find a heap of stuff sitting there.
Yeah, the orange
bags piled up. We've asked our members to segregate, try and keep the bottles separate to the cans and the plastic, because it makes it easier for your gentleman that's doing the collections. We just use the big bag now for the light stuff and the orange bags for the bottles generally.
Oh, thanks for thinking of us. Yeah, it does. It does make everyone's life easier. I was looking at just this year alone, 2022, the club has collected 12,240 containers. That's huge. And it means that all of that, instead of going to landfill or becoming litter, is going to be able to be made into a new can or bottle. What does that mean when I say those numbers for you and the club?
We used to get involved with the Clean Up Australia, or like the clean beaches and that. Which every now and again we get the kids to go and do a beach run or litter run, as we'd call it. And when this was introduced, the response was quite positive from our members, because we live on the coastline, just like at most of the other beaches. But the amount of plastic bottles and bottles that left on the beach and washed up, was pretty bad in our waterways. It's just so for this to come up, the Envirobank to come up, the incentive to do that, and give it the refund, it was really. Some of our members were thought, oh yeah, but as we pushed it, our members actually embraced it. They thought, oh, this is fantastic. Because there's a lot of education going on in the schools and at the same time. So the kids were obviously going home to some of their parents and saying, hey, are we collecting bottles? Are we going to do the cleanup? And I think that's where it's come now. And what we've done with that, Bronte, is by giving feedback to the members to say, yes, how many containers we've collected. Because when I used to get the reports, I'd publish that in the minutes. So our members could actually say how many containers we've collected and how much money we've collected. So that helped to promote it, I suppose.
These 12,000 containers have earned you over $1,000 this year, just from diverting it from your other waste streams, which saves on your waste recycling costs and earns you money back. What kind of things have you used the money for?
Well, our last electricity bill was $900 for the quarter. Because on the surf club, luckily we've just got solar panels Institute, but before that, running a surf club is expensive, I suppose, and you've got the water, gas, electricity. But with this 4,800, we've still found that we try to put that back into the just the operational side of the club, and same with radio.
Have you seen any changes in terms of litter on the beach generally since the whole scheme launched?
Oh, yeah, for sure, Bonnie. We've noticed there's definitely a significant reduction, especially in bottles and cans, because the other issue we had with bottles, people who come down, young ones or anybody come down the beach, line their bottles up and start smashing them, which was a real risk to the kids, because we had to always check the beach before the kids went on there. But what we found, that hardly anything there, because I think most of them, when they drink, they keep the bottles or they put them somewhere else or take them home. But that's been a fantastic for that part.
Wow.
It's a benefit to us, we're getting the finances, but the other benefit is obviously the environment. Look, I remember, before this started, walking past the creeks and, especially when you have a bit of rain and all the stuff that's been washed. I live opposite the Lake Illawarra, over the other side of the road from it. And some of the stuff you used to see washed up on the banks there was mainly plastic bottles and cans and all that sort of stuff. Well, I hardly see any of that now. You get a bit of other rubbish, but that's only natural, comes out the drains. But the other one they did was don't throw stuff down the drains because it goes into the lake, or it goes into that. So it's all part of the education process.
Yeah, that makes it, for me and everyone here, everyone involved, so worthwhile that this can not only prevent the littering, but then actually become a new bottle again. And because of that, we're not digging out any raw material anymore, particularly plastic and aluminium. And by using recycled plastic and aluminium and plastic, you are reducing the CO2. So your club alone, just by the 12,000 containers you've collected, that's essentially saved 2 tons of CO2 from being released.
Well, that's another part, I suppose, which I do advertise that part, what they're saying, educating the children, I suppose. They get that at school, which is good, because they see bottles and you see some of the kids, what's that bottle doing there after a carnival? Some of the people still leave their stuff. So the kids will go around, or someone will go around and say, here's the bottle, where's the container? So our kids know that, okay, we're collecting it. Now go and try and put it in a container for us. That's a positive outcome as well, I think.
Yeah, children are so aware to it. Well, you've been an amazing steward of the ocean for almost 50 years through the club, and I imagine probably your whole life. So I thank you for taking care.
Yeah, there have been a couple of people thinking, collecting all these bottles, but when it's just repeat, when I give them the figures and they look at it, as you said, 12,000 containers, that's, people should got to think about that. If that was 12,000 containers floating in the water or in the creeks, it'd be blocking up the drains and everything else. So,
Yeah, it's amazing work that you and the club have done. I'm so proud, and it's great hearing the story behind the people who make it happen. Thank you so much for talking with me this morning.
That's all right, no problem.